Walking may seem like the simplest thing in the world. You've done it your entire life without thinking about it. But something changes with age. What once felt automatic begins to feel different. Maybe you notice your steps are slower, or that uneven ground makes you more cautious than before. That doesn't mean you're weak or that life is slipping away. It simply means your body is whispering that it wants you to walk with more awareness, more care. And that, in truth, can make walking more powerful now than it ever was when you were younger. I once spoke with Margaret, a gentlewoman of 72, who told me she had stopped walking in her neighborhood because she felt embarrassed. All the younger people go so fast, she said, and I felt like I was holding them up. For a while, she stayed inside, thinking she was protecting herself. But then she decided to try again, only this time she didn't measure her success in distance or speed. She chose a short route, put on shoes that felt good for her feet, and gave herself permission to pause whenever she wanted. After a few weeks, she noticed her balance was steadier, and even her knee pain had eased. She told me, smiling, "I don't feel like I'm chasing anyone anymore. I'm just walking with myself." Maybe you've had similar thoughts, comparing yourself to how you used to move or how others around you move. But let me ask you this. What if the point of walking now isn't to arrive faster, but to arrive more present? To breathe deeply, to feel your shoulders relax, to notice the air on your face. That's not wasted time, that's life itself, moment by moment. If you're wondering how to make walking work for you at this stage, start small. Choose a pair of shoes that feel supportive, not fashionable. Pick a safe path you know well, ideally one with benches or places to rest. Begin with 10 minutes, once or twice a day, not worrying about how far you go. Focus on your posture. Let your chest open. Keep your gaze soft ahead of you rather than down at the ground. And let your steps find a rhythm with your breathing. And if you feel tired, honor that. Sit, breathe, and continue later if you wish. The important thing is not pushing, but listening. Over time, you may find you can walk a little longer or a little more freely. But even if the distance never changes, the act itself will change how you feel inside. There's a quiet strength that comes from steady movement, the kind that doesn't shout, but gently reminds you that your body is still here for you, still capable of carrying you through your days. I wonder, where do you enjoy walking the most? Is it a park, a quiet street near your home, or maybe just the hallway when the weather isn't kind? Share that place with me in the comments below. I'd love to know where your steps take you. There's a quiet truth about aging that many people don't talk about. The older we get, the more precious our muscles become. In youth, strength feels like something that just exists, something we can take for granted. But later in life, we realize that strength is not only about lifting or carrying, it's about independence, about continuing to do the small things that make us feel whole, tying our own shoes, carrying groceries, opening a jar, or rising from a chair without hesitation. When strength fades, it can feel like freedom fades with it. But the good news is, strength can be gently rebuilt, and it doesn't take hours in a gym to do it. I think of Daniel, a kind man of 68 who came to believe that resistance training was for younger people. "I thought I was too old to start," he admitted with a half smile. "I used to say, 'What's the point now?' But after struggling one day to lift his granddaughter into his arms, he felt something stir inside him. He began with the smallest steps, using 2 bottles of water as makeshift weights, lifting them slowly while seated. At first, it was barely 10 minutes every other day, but he noticed how his body responded. His arms felt steadier, his back less stiff. Within months, he told me he felt more confident in simple daily actions, like climbing stairs or carrying a basket of laundry. His story reminds us that it is never too late. You don't need to chase heavy dumbbells or complex machines. All you need is consistency, gentleness, and respect for your own pace. Imagine sitting in your favorite chair, holding 2 light objects in your hands. Slowly curl your arms upward, breathe in, pause, and lower them gently while breathing out. That small act is enough to send a message to your muscles: I still need you. And your muscles, faithful as they are, will respond, little by little. The beauty of strength training at this stage of life is not in breaking records, but in keeping doors open, doors to independence, to confidence, to joy. If you're wondering where to begin, start with the basics. Use what you have at home, bottles of water, resistance bands, or simply your own body weight. Do 5 slow repetitions, then rest. Listen to your body, not to an old image of what you should be able to do. Progress comes not through pressure, but through patience. And as you build this gentle practice into your week, even for 10 or 15 minutes, you'll notice changes you didn't expect. Steadier balance, more energy, and even a deeper sense of connection to your body. Strength, in truth, is not about being young again. It's about preserving dignity and vitality in the life you have now. If these words resonate with you, if you feel that quiet spark of possibility, I invite you to stay with me on this journey. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next steps we'll explore together, each one designed to honor your years while helping you move with more ease. After all, your story, your strength, is still being written, and it deserves the care of your full attention. Flexibility is one of those qualities we don't think much about until it starts to slip away. You bend to tie your shoes and notice a stiffness that wasn't there before. You turn your head quickly and feel a pull in your neck. These are small signals, gentle reminders that the body is asking for more kindness. And balance, too, begins to feel less certain with age, not because you're failing, but because the body is simply recalibrating after decades of carrying you. There is a quiet truth here. Flexibility and balance are not luxuries, they are protectors. They are what allow you to reach for something on a high shelf without fear, or to step off a curb without second-guessing yourself. When we lose them, we begin to move with hesitation. But when we nurture them, life feels safer, more open, and surprisingly more joyful. You might wonder why the body stiffens with time. Science offers a simple explanation. As we age, the connective tissues around our joints lose some of their elasticity. The muscles shorten if they're not gently stretched, and the little sensors in our inner ear that help us balance grow less sharp. This is not a flaw, it is simply nature doing its work. Yet the body has a remarkable gift. Even after 70, 80, or beyond, it can adapt to gentle training. By stretching a little each day and practicing small balance exercises, you tell your body, "I still need you to keep me steady," and it responds with quiet strength. Let me share a small routine you can try. In the morning, stand beside a sturdy chair. Place your hands lightly on its back, take a slow breath, and raise your arms gently overhead. Feel your chest open as if you are greeting the day. Hold for a few seconds, then lower your arms slowly, letting your breath follow the movement. Next, while still holding the chair, lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Keep your gaze steady ahead, not down, and breathe. Even 10 seconds like this builds balance. Switch sides and repeat. Finally, rotate your ankles slowly in circles, as though drawing gentle patterns in the air. It takes less than 3 minutes, yet the effect can be profound. Think of it not as exercise, but as a ritual, a way of telling your body that you care for its ability to move freely. Perhaps you've already noticed how balance is also a reflection of the mind. When your thoughts are hurried, your steps feel uncertain. When your breathing is calm, your body steadies itself almost naturally. So when you practice these little movements, don't focus only on the physical. Let it be a practice of presence too. Ask yourself, how does it feel to move gently, without rushing, without measuring? Can you notice the difference between forcing and allowing? These questions aren't tests. They are simply ways of paying attention to the conversation your body is having with you. Every stretch, every held breath, every quiet stand on one leg is not about returning to who you were at 40. It's about embracing who you are now with the wisdom and grace that time has given you. The gift of flexibility and balance is not in reaching further or standing longer than anyone else, but in knowing that your body still belongs to you, still answers when you ask it for steadiness, still carries you through the life you are living today. Water has always held a certain wisdom. Step into it, and the weight you usually carry seems to lift from your joints, leaving you lighter, freer, almost as if the years have loosened their grip. For many people in their later decades, water becomes not just a place of exercise, but a place of relief, of remembering how it feels to move without pain pressing at the edges. Swimming, or even walking gently in a pool, can feel like giving your body back the freedom it longs for. Imagine lowering yourself into warm water, the way it supports you, how every small motion becomes easier yet still meaningful. This is not about speed or strokes worthy of competition. It's about letting your body stretch, letting your heart pump a little stronger, letting your breath deepen in a way that feels safe. And if swimming isn't available to you, know that there are other paths: gentle cycling, slow dancing in your living room, or simply practicing breathing exercises that invite more oxygen, more life into your lungs. What matters is not the form, but the rhythm you create with your own body. There's a common belief that after a certain age, it's too late to improve stamina. Maybe you've heard people say, "Well, I'm old now, I just have to accept that I'll get weaker." But the truth is beautifully different. The body is adaptable at every stage of life. Even after 70 or 80, your heart responds to gentle cardio by growing stronger. Your lungs expand more fully. Your circulation improves. It's not about chasing the energy of youth. It's about giving your body what it still craves: movement that nourishes instead of depletes. I've seen people surprise themselves. One man in his late 70s began with nothing more than standing in place, lifting his knees slowly to the rhythm of soft music. He laughed when he realized after 2 weeks that he could do it longer without tiring. Another woman in her early 80s found joy in water aerobics, not because she was striving for fitness records, but because she could laugh with friends as they moved together, buoyed by the water. These are not dramatic transformations, but they are powerful ones, the kind that extend life quietly, adding steadiness and joy to each day. Perhaps you might ask yourself, when was the last time you moved in a way that felt joyful rather than dutiful? Do you remember a moment when exercise didn't feel like exercise, but simply like play, like life? Could you bring a little of that feeling back into your days? Start small. 10 minutes of movement that raises your heart rate just a little, enough that your breath grows deeper, but not so much that you feel strained. Let it be as simple as turning on a favorite song and swaying in your kitchen, or practicing slow, deep breathing while seated, expanding your chest and then releasing. Over time, those small acts remind your heart and lungs that they are still needed, still capable, still yours. The point is not to defy age, but to live in harmony with it. Every gentle swim, every careful step, every slow breath becomes a kind of gratitude, a way of telling your body, "I thank you for carrying me this far, and I will care for you as you carry me further." If you'd like more gentle wisdom like this, make sure you're subscribed so you can keep receiving these reminders of how to live well in the years that matter most. And I'd love to know, which of these practices feels closest to your heart right now? Which one seems like something you could gently bring into your own life today? Share it with me. I'd love to hear your reflections. There is something profoundly healing about realizing that movement in later years is not about chasing youth, but about deepening presence. By now, you may have noticed how every exercise we've talked about carries the same quiet message. You don't need to push harder, you need to listen more deeply. When you allow yourself to walk with awareness, to strengthen gently, to stretch with patience, to move your heart with care, what you are really doing is weaving together a kind of daily ritual, a reminder that your body and your spirit are still partners in this journey. One of the most harmful myths I hear is that after 65, it's too late to make a difference. Too late to build stamina, too late to feel strong, too late to change habits. But think of the body as a garden. Even if the soil is older, seeds still sprout when given water and sunlight. The human body is no different. Muscles will respond when called upon, lungs will expand when given breath, and balance will improve when practiced. Not in the same way it did at 40, but in the way that is right for you now. That, to me, is one of the most beautiful truths about aging. It doesn't take away your ability to grow, it only asks you to grow differently. Perhaps you can take a quiet moment to ask yourself, when did you last feel joy in moving your body? Was it dancing slowly in your living room, or lifting your arms to stretch toward the sky, or maybe laughing in a pool as the water made you light? These memories are not behind you. They can be recreated gently, in small ways, each day. The question isn't, what can I no longer do, but what can I still enjoy in a way that feels kind to me? I once knew a woman named Helen who at 81 thought exercise was no longer part of her life. She carried aches in her hips and a deep fear of falling. But one day she began something so simple, just sitting in her chair, closing her eyes, and practicing slow, full breaths. She would place her hand on her chest, another on her belly, and notice the rise and fall. This tiny practice gave her more calm, more steadiness. Soon she added short walks around her kitchen, then gentle stretches at the counter. When she told me, "I feel like my body belongs to me again," her eyes were full of a light that had been missing. And it all began with one decision to move differently, not less. Aging asks us to live with more awareness, to see that small steps are not failures but victories, that slowing down doesn't mean stopping, it means savoring, and that the body, even in its 8th or 9th decade, still responds to care. These 5 practices, walking, strengthening, stretching, swimming, breathing, are not rules but invitations. Invitations to honor yourself, to protect your independence, to create moments of joy that ripple into every part of your life. If you allow them into your days, not with force but with gentleness, you may find that life feels not only longer but richer. So here is my final encouragement. Choose one, not all 5, not at once. Just one practice that feels closest to your heart today. Try it in the smallest way possible and see how your body answers. You may be surprised at the wisdom it still holds, waiting to be heard. If you'd like to keep walking this path with me, receiving gentle reminders and simple practices, make sure you're subscribed so we can continue this journey together. And I would love to know, of all the exercises we've explored, which one speaks to you most right now? Which feels like the one you could welcome into your life today? Share it with me, because your story, your reflections, may be the very encouragement someone else needs to begin.